Most businesses are approaching AI and automation completely wrong. They're either automating random tasks because someone saw a cool demo on X or LinkedIn, or they're paralyzed doing nothing because they don't know where to start. Both are expensive mistakes. What you actually need is a framework, a way to look at any task in your business and determine three things. Should it be automated? How should it be automated? And where does it sit on your priority list? That's exactly what I'm going to give you in this video. But first, some context on why this matters more right now than it ever has. For decades, business growth has been tied to headcount. To double your output, you roughly had to double your team or your hours. Growth was linear and manual. More revenue meant more people, which meant more overhead and more management and more complexity. That paradigm's over. AI is now autonomous and it can complete almost any digital task. Writing, research, data processing, analysis, customer communication, campaign management, reporting, and the list grows every week. What that means is that the old constraint, being human time and cognitive capacity, is no longer the bottleneck. The new bottleneck is your ability to identify where AI and automation create the most leverage in your specific business and then actually build those systems. And that changes what it means to be a good operator. The skill that matters now isn't doing the work, it's designing the system that does the work. Human creativity in terms of strategy and vision on how to build self-optimizing systems, that's the new lever. So the question becomes, where do you point that lever first? Every automation you build should map back to one of three outcomes. If it doesn't clearly improve one of these three things, it's probably not worth your time yet. The first is reducing your operational cost and cost to deliver. This is internal efficiency, the work that happens behind the scenes to deliver your product or service. This can include reporting, data management, internal communication, onboarding workflows, QA processes, all of the operational scaffolding that keeps the business running. When you drive this down, you become a leaner business, your margins improve, and critically, you free up cash and capacity to reinvest in the other two levers. The second is reducing your cost to acquire a customer. This is your sales and marketing engine. How you use AI here depends on your business model, but the principle is the same. You want to create, launch, test, and optimize at a pace that wasn't possible when every step required a human. That could mean AI generating and testing ad creatives at scale, or it could mean automating your lead enrichment and qualification so your sales team only talks to people who are an actual fit. It could mean AI managing your outreach sequences and personalizing at a level that would have required a team of 10 people 2 years ago. The point isn't to replace your marketing or sales function, it's to make every dollar and every hour you invest in acquisition go significantly further. The third is maximizing the lifetime value of each customer. This is retention, expansion, and the depth of value. Can you use AI to deliver a better experience to your customers? Can you add more value to your platform or service without proportionally increasing your cost to deliver? Think AI-powered support that actually resolves issues instead of deflecting them. Think proactive outreach triggered by usage patterns or social signals. Think personalized recommendations, automated check-ins, dynamic onboarding that adapts to how each customer actually uses your product. When you increase lifetime value, every customer you've already acquired becomes more valuable, which compounds with the improvement you're making to acquisition cost. So those are the three outcomes. Everything you automate should serve at least one of them. That's the strategic filter. Now let's get tactical. Here are the 5 questions you need to ask about every task or process in your business to determine how it should be automated and whether it should be automated at all. These 5 criteria will sort every task into one of 3 buckets: fully automated, AI assisted with human oversight, or human led with AI support. The first question, can you clearly define what goes in and what should come out? Here's a simple test. If you had to hand this task to a new hire on their first day, could you explain the inputs and the expected output in a few sentences? Could you say, take this, do this, and produce that? If yes, it's a strong signal it can be automated. If the answer changes every time depending on who's involved, what the context is, and what kind of day it is, that's a signal the task needs a human closer to the center of it. For example, generating an invoice from order data, very clear input, very clear output, fully automatable. Deciding how to respond to a client who's unhappy about a project delay. The input is clear, but the right output depends entirely on the relationship, the history, the stakes. That needs a human. The second question is the information needed to complete this task accessible digitally? Does it live in a CRM, a spreadsheet, an inbox, a platform, or does it live inside somebody's head? AI and automation can only work with what they can access. If the data exists digitally and in a structured way, you can build a system around it. If it's tribal knowledge or it's scattered across Slack threads and verbal conversations and sticky notes, you don't have an automation opportunity just yet, you have a data problem, and you need to solve the data problem first. This is actually one of the most common reasons automations fail. People try to automate a process before they've made the information that process depends on actually accessible to a system. So if you score low on this one, the first step isn't to build an automation, it's to centralize and digitize the information. The third question is, how repeatable is it? Does this task look roughly the same every time, or is every instance fundamentally different? Now, here's the important nuance. In the old world of automation, a task had to be nearly identical every time to be automatable. Rule-based systems needed exact conditions and exact steps. That was the Zapier era. With AI, that's changed. The task doesn't need to be identical, it just needs to follow a recognizable pattern. AI can handle variation. Customer support responses follow a pattern, even though every ticket is different. Proposal drafts follow a pattern, even though every client is different. Ad copy follows a pattern, even though every campaign is different. AI can handle variation. What it can't handle is chaos though. Tasks where there's genuinely no pattern, no precedent, and every instance requires a completely novel thinking. Those exist, but they're rarer than most people assume. The fourth question is, what's the cost of getting it wrong? This is the one most people skip, and it's the most important one, because it determines how much human oversight you need. If a mistake is easily caught, easily reversed, and the impact is minimal, like a formatting error in an internal report, fully automated. Don't waste human attention on low-stakes work. If a mistake means a client sees the wrong number, or an email goes out with incorrect information, or ad spend gets allocated to the wrong campaign, that's moderate stakes. That's where you want AI doing the work, but a human reviewing the output before it goes live. And if a mistake means legal exposure, financial loss, reputational damage, or something you genuinely can't undo, that's where the human stays firmly in the driver's seat with AI providing support, not making decisions. The mistake most people make here is treating everything like it's high stakes. It's not. Most of the tasks in your business are low to moderate stakes, which means most of them can tolerate full or near full automation. And fifth, the most important one, does a human genuinely add irreplaceable value here, or are they just in the loop out of habit? This is the hardest question to answer, honestly. A lot of processes have a human step, not because the human is adding something AI can, but because that's how it's always been done. No one has ever stopped to ask whether the human's actually making the output better or just touching it because the workflow was designed back in 2019. So the question isn't, does a human currently do this? The question is, if we remove the human from the specific step, would the output actually get worse? For data entry, report formatting, routine notifications, file organization, no, the human adds nothing. Automate it completely. For content review, lead scoring, QA checks, the human adds something, but they're reviewing and refining, not creating. Let AI create, let the human refine. For high-stakes sale conversations, creative strategies, sensitive client relationships, leadership decisions, the human is irreplaceable. And that's fine. Use AI to give that human better data, better prep, and more time to focus on the thing they can actually do. So when you score a task across all 5 of those questions, what you get is a clear answer. Low scores across the board, 1s and 2s, that's full automation. Build a system, set the triggers, and monitor for exceptions. Don't put a human in the loop just for comfort. Mid-range scores, that's AI assisted. AI does the heavy lifting, the human approves the output at the critical moment. Design the workflow so the human is only touching it where their judgment actually matters. High scores, that's human-led with AI support. The human drives, AI prepares the data, generates the drafts, handles the admin work around the task. The human focuses on the part that requires their judgment, empathy, and creativity. And then there's the question of priority. Which tasks do you automate first? That's straightforward. Take each task and ask 2 key things. How often does it happen and how long does it take each time? Frequency multiplied by time. The tasks that score highest both are the ones burning the most hours in your business. Start there. And that's the framework. 5 criteria to classify any task in your business, 3 categories to sort them into, and a simple priority calculation to figure out the order. The businesses that are going to win over the next few years aren't necessarily the ones with the best product or the biggest team. They're the ones who figure out how to design systems that compound, where every automation makes the next one easier and the humans in the business are freed up to do the work that actually moves the needle. Start with one process, score it, build it, then do the next one.